Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again in this YouTube astrological segment. I'm going to be talking about the 2020 to 2023 Saturn in Aquarius transit part one of two. Saturn will enter Aquarius on December 17th, 2020, and it will remain there till March 7th, 2023. So we're talking about a little bit over 2 years where Saturn will traverse the zodiac sign Aquarius, and this could actually be a very positive transit. This is going to be, Saturn is about responsibility. So as far as this basic meaning, what we're going to see collectively, I think there's going to be more responsibility toward friendships, groups, organizations. There's going to be more. Saturn is about, it's very prudent, it's very cautious. Many of you may know, of course, we're in this. If you didn't know, you'd be almost oblivious if you didn't realize we're in the pandemic right now. And in the United States, especially, I think we're going to be seeing for at least the first part of this transit, it's going to be more about structure and discipline in our friendships and in places where people congregate, and being more prudent and cautious regarding this. Is not going to be a lot of freewheeling energy and self-righteous energy. I think a lot of this is going to manifest in the fact that we are going to have to take more accountability and responsibility for not wearing our mask or visor or whatever it is that it's needed to be worn to diminish the propensity for this to be spread and the virus to be spread or what have you. This is a time where we're going to it's going to be about more accountability for not taking our precautions in groups, and it's going to be also about taking more taking the efforts really that need to be done in order to diminish the spread of this. It's also about taking more responsibility to the environment as far as pollutants go, as an example, in our future as well. This is a time now, if something was inhibiting us and holding us back from being progressive and moving forward, this is a time where many of us are going to work hard to move ahead. A lot of this is going to require a lot of laborious effort. Saturn is certainly something that's not easy. And I think when we look at this as well, Saturn can be about looking at what's more significant, taking out what's frivolous, what's unimportant. Being an Aquarius, it could be friends, it could be groups or aspirations or goals. If there's even something very simple like certain electronic games and gadgets that are computer electronic related, if there's been too much time devoted to that, if we've been dominated by these things, this could be the time where these things might be discarded, and we focus on the things that are more significant associated with the zodiac sign Aquarius. If somebody has this saying, this transit is hitting their 12th house, it could be in some kind of instances, it might be feelings of ostracism, because Saturn is also about our fears. And when you have Saturn transiting Aquarius, this might be a time where there might be a little bit more fear of groups and organizations, clubs, places where people congregate. And if you have it in the 12th house of isolation and seclusion, you could do the math and understand that this could be something that might be causing more isolation. Now, it's important to, looking at this as well, this could actually be very auspicious for people that are in, as far as careers and working laboriously in Aquarius related things such as aerospace, astronomy, computers, information technology, astrology, meteorology, innovation, robotics, bionics, of the doing things that are environmental, laborious efforts that are for the collective good of others. Not, we're moving, Saturn is going out of, transitioning soon out of self-protective Capricorn and going into Aquarius, which is more about doing things that with altruism and for the benefit of others, not so much ourselves. When Saturn, during the time it's in Capricorn, it could be, I mean, don't get me wrong, it has some good placements. It is, I mean, elements to it. It's in its dignity when it's in Capricorn as well. But a lot of it is more self-protective energy. It might have been more auspicious for Capricorn-related careers like accounting and dentistry, masonry, government political work, but now that it's in, but at the same time, it was more quote unquote responsibility, I would say, for protecting oneself at all costs, and not so much worrying about other people and our general future. Now, what I'm the thing about this is as well, I think a lot of this is going to be, could manifest. Remember that Saturn is about restrictions and limitations. People might feel more inhibited going online on the internet. There may be more stipulations one may have to follow. I don't know, some of you might be affected by this. I've been affected by this recently, and I know at the time that I'm making the video, Saturn is not in Aquarius yet, but I think we might be getting a little precursor and preview to this transit, because there's right now, it seems like when I've been on YouTube, they have I've had some videos that have been flagged, and said um, they were not suitable for an adult audience or what have you, and I appealed them, and I won, I believe, at least most of the appeals on it. But the point is, you're going to have more scrutiny as far as things on the internet. It's probably I could see the fact that Saturn is associated with the law, its authority. It can be where you might have not just this general scrutiny on internet activity. They might crack down more on cybercrime, even basic things as impersonating somebody online, setting up just something as simple as setting up, say, a fake fallacious profile of somebody. This is something I could see where when you have the Saturn and Aquarius energy blended together, that's how I think it could manifest and pan out. This is going to be also too, I could see this manifesting in more, there might be some innovation associated with aging. Some of you may have heard, and I don't know as far as to what degree or extent this is and the complete veracity of this, but I saw something online where they said there was something on some blog about we're aging. There might be something now that can reverse aging very marginally. So you might, assuming this is true, this could be a continuation of that. And there was also something one time about how somebody, I think it was in a foreign country, had technically reversed time to some degree. Remember that Saturn is about timekeeping. Aquarius is associated with ingenuity and innovation, so there might be a little bit more of a increase, or there might be more development on this, but I wouldn't say we're going to go into time travel or anything like that. That if that exists, that could be, if that ever were to happen, I'm very dubious of that. But you could be looking at 100 to 200 years in the future, which we won't be around, of course, then. But the thing is, that's still technology that would be very far away. And this also can manifest in ingenuity in social structures as well. So we're going to, that's something to obviously to keep an eye on during this transit. Now, another thing about this transit too, say if you have this at any point hitting your first or your sixth house in your chart, this could be, sometimes this could manifest in chronic debilitations. Saturn is associated with chronic illnesses. It can be, remember, the first house is the physical body. The sixth house is about physical ailments. And the thing about this is it could be over, something Aquarius related, something with the ankles, the calves, the nerves, the shins, circulation at this time. And another thing too is that I wanted to get back at, I was going to say earlier, but I didn't say it earlier, I should have, but this could affect, obviously, when the transit can affect all collectively, but I would say especially Aquarius, Sun, Moon, or Ascendant people. of course, because it's going to be in their sign. Hold on a moment, people. Sorry about that, I'm back. But anyway, I mean, the ascendant, of course, could be something where, I mean, ascendant and sun can be physical related matters, because remember, the ascendant is connected with the physical body. If the transit is conjuncting one's sun, Aquarius sun, it can affect the physical body to some degree, the vitality, the energy. It can be maybe as a result of maybe too much selfless actions, altruism, things that could be Aquarius related. Uh, may affect the vitality and energy. It could also be something with remember, the sun is also about the life in one's chart, and that life of altruism, of selflessness, of doing things, of really maybe just being non-conforming, being that universal friend might be a little bit restricted at this time. Remember that Saturn is also about our consistency. So if we're doing it could be more sometimes this could just be about more consistent efforts in the sun and Aquarius related things that I stated before. But the thing about this is, now if it's hitting, one's Aquarius moon, obviously you could have a restriction in the emotional energy. It might be trying to, maybe restrict the very erratic, sporadic, unpredictable Aquarius like emotions, and there might be a little bit more despondency at that time, more so than usual. But it could also be gaining structure in one's emotional needs, which can include goals, aspirations, friendships. So those are things that involve making new ideas, concepts, ingenuity, again, altruism. These are things which which might gain more structure at this point in time. And when you're talking about Saturn hitting one's Aquarius ascendant, that could also limit the qualities of the outer demeanor, the characteristics that are expressed very outwardly and naturally, such as that being eccentric, unorthodox, the general friendliness of Aquarius ascendant people, things that are just being unique, being very amiable and friendly, even maybe even some rebellious and non-conforming qualities and progressive qualities. This energy may be held back a little bit, and may also there might be some physical issues that may go on. Personality, outer personality may be a little bit more inhibited than usual, but also keep in mind that it could limit the vitality as well. The sun is associated with the vitality and energy of a person, but so is the ascendant, because it is the physical body, and it does have to do with your energy as well. So, well, another thing is that it's important to look at the house this falls in, as that, of course, could impact the delineation and interpretation. Now, this transit will be in my 10th house for most of the period. So Saturn and Saturn Aquarius transiting the 10th house. I mean, that can manifest in a number of ways. But for me, maybe this is more working vigorously on Aquarius, like it could be an astrological reputation, public image, the career. That's one way it could pan out. Some cases it might be taking care of a debilitated or sickly, maybe Aquarius older person. 10th house, I would say, could be associated with older person. It could be an Aquarius sun, moon, or ascendant person, or simply one that embodies those traits. It might be somebody just a little bit eccentric or unorthodox, innovative. Uh, this could also be another thing too, is that it's also important to look at the aspects that makes the points in one's chart, as this could impact the delineation and interpretation as well. Now mine is going to in conjunct my natal Mercury in Cancer from like December 18th, 2020 to January 13th, 2021. So you're looking at almost a month of this transit, and that could be, you're talking about transits that are involved, that are in conjunct aspects. And inconjuncts, of course, can be associated with adjustments. Some of this, I was stating to you before about, working within, parameters of like the internet. I think a lot of this is going to be about me making, adjustments perhaps to, um, as far as working within the parameters, which is Saturn of the internet, which is could be associated with Aquarius, being in the house of authority, the 10th house, for most of the during that time of the transit, or for most of that transit, and it's going to in conjunct the Mercury in Cancer, which could be about the adjustment to communications that I feel simply comfortable and at home with, that might be tied, being in the second house, tied into self-worth and self-esteem. It might be having to put more videos on some age restriction point. That could be one way that could manifest and pan out at this time. So those are some things to be looking at as far as this transit, Saturn in Aquarius transit goes. And I think you're going to have me. I know that Jupiter will be in Aquarius for most of 2021. So what we're looking at is something where we're going to have these two transits with Saturn and Jupiter and Aquarius going on simultaneously for some time. So we got very strong Aquarius energy headed our way. It's a lot of futuristic, progressive energy. Really Jupiter with the hope and optimism for the future, and Saturn taking more responsibility to wanting to move ahead and not being held back at this time. So anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, people, Edwin Learnard saying stay well.